Robinson will be with us. We hope you've enjoyed the
Thanksgiving Day is traditionally the beginning of the holiday season, and it's when the Dallas Cowboys playoff drive begins in earnest. And when November turns into December, the Cowboys are virtually invincible in the game that follows Thanksgiving. They haven't lost since 1967, and there have been some memorable performances, like Tony Dorsett's 175 yards rushing against Baltimore in '81. Or handing the Washington Redskins their only loss in their Super Bowl winning season. This is the Cowboys' time to shine. Today they travel to Cincinnati to play a Bengals team that has a record of its own to be proud of. A divisional title at stake and a sold-out Riverfront Stadium full of fans eager to show they don't like Dallas very much. Have their own heroes, new young faces like second-year quarterback Boomer Esiason and wide receiver Eddie Brown, who looks like he could be the AFC Rookie of the Year. Dallas has never played a regular season game here before, and it should be a wild scene in Cincinnati today. The Cowboys against the Bengals coming up. Nearly 60,000 have jammed themselves into Riverfront Stadium for this first meeting ever in Cincinnati between the Cowboys and the Bengals. An important game for Dallas. They currently hold a one-game edge over the Giants with 3 to go in the NFC East. Perhaps a more significant game for Cincinnati. They are involved in a three-way fight for the AFC Central Division Championship. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist. A local columnist named Jack Brennan began his Friday column this way. For Cincinnatians, this is the closest thing football can offer to a papal visit. The Dallas Cowboys are coming to town, finally. This game has been sold out for weeks. You can get a ticket if you want to go out on the sidewalk and pay a couple of $100 to a scalper. But it's that kind of pressure that's here, Terry Bradshaw, and this really does have a special feeling.
Well, this stadium here, Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, I've got a lot of fond memories of it, and they're mostly in a negative way, believe it or not, in the fact that most of the times when the Steelers played here, we had turnovers one game along, Vern. We had 10 turnovers. 7 of them were fumbles, and 4 of them were interceptions. But this is a hostile crowd, but it's also the kind of crowd you like to play in from. They're good football fans.
Significant game for both these teams. How do you see the game evolving? What are the keys?
Well, I believe that in big football games, crucial football games, the 2 important people are the quarterbacks. Danny White has led his football team to 10 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, 7 of those touchdown passes. On the other side, Boomer Esiason, a second-year pro out of Maryland, has kept all year long this offense of the Cincinnati Bengals in the tops of the NFL. So we've got 2 young quarterbacks that I think are the key to the game today.
Not a bad day, all things considered. 38 degrees and cloudy with a 30% chance of rain. It is expected to get as high as 45 before the afternoon is out. And a sellout crowd, some of whom are wearing cowboy blue and silver. Dallas has won the toss, and that means that Jim Breach will do the kickoff chores. And James Jones, number 23, is back to return. He has taken the place the last couple of weeks of Robert Lovett, the rookie from Georgia Tech, who has been put on injured reserve. Short, Jones at the 8. And James Jones gives the Cowboys decent field position. The tackle made by number 56, Ron Simpkins. Danny White, Tony Dorsett, Timmy Newsome, Tony Hill, and Mike Renfro at the skill positions. Up front and improving Chris Schultz. Glenn Titensor, Tom Rafferty starting his 147th straight game. Peterson, Jim Cooper, and Doug Cosby, the tight end. First down, 10 Dallas from the 32-yard line. Danny White, 59%. He has cut down on his interceptions considerably in the last couple of games. And Dallas will operate from the eye on first down 10 from the 32. Bengals threatening a blitz. They're coming. Dorsett, stiff arm, caught for a loss. It's Timmy Newsome, and Ross Browner, number 79, gets there first. 3-man front for the Bengals. Edwards, Tim Crumry, and Ross Browner, who just had the tackle. The linebackers, Jeff Shue, Carl Zander, Glenn Cameron, and Reggie Williams. And the secondary, Lewis Breeden, Ray Horton, Bobby Kemp, and number 22, James Griffin. Loss of 5 last play, second down, 15. White audibly and having some trouble getting his back set. Dorsett has his head taken off, and there's a fumble. White is back there and falls on it at the 5. And Browner falls on him. Watch it from the end zone.
You're going to see Danny turns around and heads to Tony, and when he cuts back inside, Browner knocks the ball loose. Well, there's Browner 79 as he chases White, who makes the recovery for him. For the first 2 plays, the Bengals are absolutely burned, flying high on emotion.
Third down, 37. This season, Dorsett has been fumbling an average of only once every 59 carries. Carl Poe comes in, and the fans are on their feet. Third and 37. Safety.
The thing that's amazing about the safety is that it comes from 4 down linemen, as they have Crumry 69 and Boyarsky 61 and Browner 79, all of them putting good pressure, beating their people and getting inside. Now actually Crumry, the nose tackle 69, got a little carried away as he throws Danny down and very easily could have got a penalty right there, Vern.
Earlier this week, Tom Landry was asked if he would have problems getting the attention of his team for Cincinnati since they've got the Giants next week. They said, Tom, can you get their attention? He said, I hope so. I'm sure he has their attention now.
Well, the thing that he said also is he realized the remaining 3 games that the Cowboys had were against football teams still in the running to make the playoffs. So this is a hungry Bengal football team they're playing today, even though they're in what is considered by many the weaker division, the AFC Central, which used to be the strongest division.
Mike Saxon, in his first year with Dallas, will have the free kick from the 20. Eddie Brown and Mike Martin are deep to receive. Mike Martin, number 88, and Eddie Brown, number 81. They wait at the 30. 2-0 Cincinnati. 3 plays into the game. And not a particularly good kick. Eddie Brown has it. There's a clip or a flag. Illegal block of some sort at the 34. Todd Fowler makes the tackle. Not a clip, but illegal contact. Well, what a way to start the game.
Well, what is surprising as we get the penalty call.
Illegal block, number 30, receiving team, first off.
That's on Bill Johnson out of Arkansas State. The thing about it is that's so interesting is that the pressure has come from the linemen, not from the blitzes, which is the Cowboys are expecting the Bengals to blitz a lot.
Here comes the no-huddle offense. That, by the way, is the first time a safety has been registered against Dallas since 1970 in a 38-0 loss to St. Louis. No huddle, Esiason back to throw. Deep right side, caught by Collinsworth at the 39-yard line. Mike Hegman, number 58, makes the tackle, and again, the no-huddle offense, and Esiason is expected to throw again. Sam Weiss calls all the plays, but he has a list of the first 23 plays in this game that he wants to run. First and 10. Going deep in the zone, should have been intercepted. Michael Downs had it bounce off his shoulder pads.
Well, the first play, the thing that you notice right off the bat is as we look at Downs is the fact that Esiason has had plenty of time to search the field and find the open receiver. The first time he hits Collinsworth. The second time he has a wide open 81 Brown coming in there and he misses him.
Again, the no huddle. They worked this to perfection last week against Houston. 4-man rush. Ball is caught. Rodney Holman has enough for the first down. That's the tight end to the 50-yard line. Michael Downs and Gene Lockhart make the tackle. Terry, what's the advantage of the no huddle?
Well, the advantage is that it allows Esiason at least 10 additional seconds to call the plays at the line of scrimmage. It is similar to a 2-minute offense, but in effect, he can do anything out there he wants, but he has at least 10 seconds. And if you run people in on him and try to switch up, he can snap the ball quickly and get a penalty.
On the fourth play, they go with 2 tight ends. M.L. Harris has joined Rodney Holden. First down at the 50. That is Harris in motion. This is Kennebrew. And that's good for a gain of 2 as Ron Fellows, number 27, and Michael Downs, 26, make the tackle. 40-year-old Sam Weish. Cincinnati has won 4 of its last 5 home games against NFC teams. The Cowboys have the best record in the NFC against AFC teams, 38-14. Second down at 8. Boomer Esiason, second-year man, started 5 games last year and got the starting nod over Ken Anderson after an 0-2 start this year. Second and 8. Reverse faked, and James Brooks has it with a blocker in front to the 15-yard line. A gain of 33 yards.
You're going to see as Esiason comes out, he hands off to Brooks, 21, who fakes the reverse to Brown, and he's got a good lead block that time by Montoya, the right guard, and Montoya does a super job downfield on clean scale, and then Brooks, 21, cuts back inside.
That's a gain of 33, first down at the 16-yard line. Cincinnati leads it 2-0. Left side, man open, Collinsworth, first and goal at the 4. Esiason early in the season, didn't you?
I like him. The thing that I am most impressed with, Vern, is his poise. He absolutely feels like this stadium is empty and there are not 100 million people watching on television. He has an uncanny amount of poise at such an early point in his career for a second-year man. And as this game goes on, I'll relate some stories that will back up what I just said.
Now Cincinnati puts their special goal line offense. They have all offensive linemen up on the front line. Charles Alexander in the backfield. They sometimes will pass from this. This is Kennebrew, and he shoves the pile forward for a touchdown. The fact that he may look like he's stopped as he goes off left tackle. There, folks, he appears to be stopped. But he drives and he drives. He's 270 pounds. He's still driving, and I'd be doggone if he doesn't finally get in the end zone. So what he said is evidently true. The guy looks like he's stopped, and then boom, he's in the end zone. Jim Breach to make it a 9-0 game. A 72-yard drive in 7 plays. Kennebrew from 3 yards out. We have played only 5 minutes and 2 seconds, and the Bengals lead 9-0. 60,000 is ecstatic with joy at this 9-0 start the Bengals have gotten. 72 yards in 7 plays, primarily with a no-huddle offense. 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and Kennebrew got the touchdown from 3 yards out. Now Jim Breach is on to kick off. And the Cowboys will send James Jones as the middleman of 3 deep. He is flanked on either side by Todd Fowler and Timmy Newsom. Cowboys are going to have a sustained drive to get back to plus yardage. James Jones to the 26-yard line. There's Ernie Staunton, the defensive coordinator. Now, what's he going to have to do to change things?
Well, the thing that's happening with the no-huddle offense is not allowing Staunton enough time to get his 7 defensive backs in the football game, which is what they run their blitz scheme off of. As long as they're in a no-huddle offense, he cannot blitz his safeties. He'll have to do it with linebackers. And
I'm sure Cincinnati, having had that success, will come right back with a no-huddle next time they get the ball. The Cowboys have 36 yards negative in total offense so far. They trail by 9, first down at the 25. Quick drop, right side. Caught by Mike Renfro. And that's a gain of about 3. Lewis Breeden, number 34, made the tackle, and Danny White hit the ground after the tackle.
The thing you're going to see is the Bear defense. As you see linebacker, safety, and the linebacker. They've got an overload to the strong side. This is their Bear defense. As you can see, the pressure breaks through at the very end and puts the pressure on White. It was the Bear defense that caused the Cowboys a 44-0 humiliation 3 weeks ago. And off Dorsett. That's good for the first down. Up near the 38-yard line, and Lewis Breeden, number 34, again made the tackle. Dorsett is one of the few who has played Cincinnati before. In the 1979 game in Texas Stadium, he gained 119 yards in a 38-13 victory. These two teams have played only once previous to that. That was in '73. And again, the Cowboys at home scored 38 points on Cincinnati. And in that game, Leroy Jordan had 3 pass interceptions against Ken Anderson. Double tight end set again. First down and 10. Dallas's first down of the game. 9-0. Cincinnati leads. Play action. White to Cosby. First down, fumble. And Cincinnati has it. Reggie Williams, after Bobby Kemp made the hit. 2 fumbles already for Dallas. 1 recovered by the Bengals. See Cosby as he clears Zander, 91, the linebacker, and then boom, boy, up from the strong safety comes Bobby Kemp as he knocks the football loose, and then Williams, 57, he recovers for the Bengals. No huddle from the 45. Esiason to throw. Wants it deep, goes deep. Intended for Eddie Brown. Caught! No, he juggled the ball. The man the Cowboys wanted to draft last year. Well, you're going to see Walls 24 is doing an outstanding job. This man actually is covered, but the ball actually was dropped perfectly into Brown's hands, and then he juggled it, and then Walls is able to knock him out of bounds. Cowboys drafted in the 17th spot last year, Cincinnati in the 13th. The Cowboys called Houston and tried to draft up so they could get Eddie Brown. They offered their number 1 and number 2. You got to be impressed, Vern, with the way they're coming out and attacking. They're just reverses, throwing the ball all over the field. They're loose. 9-0 Cincinnati. Second down and 10. And again, no pressure on Esiason. Caught Eddie Brown. Touchdown. Off with excellent pass protection. Unless the Cowboys are able to get in there and get their blitz scheme going, Esiason will have this kind of protection all day long. There's the throw right over Walls, who beats him by a step. And the really good job is done downfield by the wide receiver, giving Brown a good block, enable him to cut back inside for the touchdown. Bridge to make it a 16-0 game. Bengals are up by 16, and watch Boomer Esiason. He's only in his second year. Riders had a telephone press conference with Sam Weish. He was asked, since Dallas has never played here, is there anything different about Riverfront Stadium's field? And Sam, with his tongue firmly in his cheek, said, well, there's a 10-degree incline. We have 4 feet of water at one end zone. Other than that, it's like any other 73-yard field you've ever seen. That must be how the Cowboys feel right now. James Jones. Not a whole lot. Ours is an amazing
16-0. Detroit trailing New England by 7-0. Tony Eason with a 16-yard run. Kansas City 7-0. Ethan Horton scored from 1 yard out. Green Bay over Miami as Al Del Greco had a field goal from 23 yards. And St. Louis on a 25-yard stump Mitchell run leads New Orleans by 7. 16-0, and we've got 9 minutes still to go, first quarter. A safety and a fumble. The Cowboys, in their 4 losses this year, are minus 14 in turnovers. They're minus 1 today. White had to throw it away as Jeff Shue, number 59, was right in his face. Second and 10. 6 minutes and 6 seconds have elapsed in this stunning first quarter here in Cincinnati. And it's second and 10. Landry with Jim Schaffner trying to solve the puzzle that they have.
Puddle?
That's what they've fallen into.
Got the water.
That's right. It's that end zone with the 4 feet of water I'm thinking about. White. Man is open. Ball is tipped away. Lewis Breeden, number 34, who was quoted in the papers on Friday as saying, immensely overrated, immensely overrated. That's what I think of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm tired of all this America's team hype and media stuff.
And then when I brought it to his attention yesterday and handed him the paper, he grabbed it out of my hand and he said, let me see that.
And Paul Brown, the president of the club, when he read the article, said, gosh, I wish he hadn't said that. Right now.
I think Lewis wishes he hadn't said it too.
Third and 10. Blitz. Emmanuel King, number 90, rookie from Alabama. Merry Christmas.
You're going to look on the outside and see one linebacker up inside, 2 on the outside, and they're going to come right up the middle, hold, and then they're going to put the pressure on White. Okay, there comes 26 right up the center, and then 90, Emmanuel King, and then on the outside, as you see Crumrye, number 69, as he beats him from the outside, the defensive tackle getting outside of the defensive end.
That is only the second time Danny White has been sacked in the last 3 games. He was sacked 6 times against Chicago. Saxon, and again, terrific field position for Cincinnati. Mike Martin, flags are down, and so is Martin by Victor Scott, number 22, at the 45-yard line.
Well, that time, Emmanuel King was so excited about the pressure he had put on White that he comes down on the punt team now and gets a clip on Bates, number 40.
There is referee Dick Jorgensen. Again, it's the illegal block. 42-yard punt and 3 on the return. But that will be wiped out.
Illegal block, number 90, receiving team on the run back. 10 yards, first down.
We still have 8 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Cincinnati is up by 16. At Riverfront Stadium, we had mentioned that 16-1 record the Cowboys had on the game after Thanksgiving. The only defeat was to Baltimore in 1967. Total offense in this game so far, and we've only played 5 minutes and 50 seconds, minus 18 for Dallas, 117 for the Bengals. And they are back. Play action, and Esiason rolls out, chased by Clinksdale. Eddie Brown has the catch. Esiason is 5 of 7. And again, the no-huddle offense. And Terry, this keeps Dallas really guessing defensively.
Well, they can't get their defensive people in to match up now on second down. They have to keep their defensive backs off the field.
First and 10. Incomplete.
I tell you now that we have an incompletion, I can explain that a little better. You say, well, why can't they run them on now? Well, what happens is when the plays are going down the field, if the Bengals, in fact, see Staunton send in extra defensive backs and people running off the field, what they can do is holler, Esiason will say, ready, and then they'll go up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball. And Sam White, the coach of the Bengals, said that we picked up maybe 8 or 10 first downs just by doing that.
This time they do go with a huddle on 2nd down and 10. Mike Martin comes in as a 3rd wide receiver. Cowboys blitz. Esiason goes deep. Martin is open. Tipped away by Everson Walls.
Now, that was a great job by Walls, as that ball appeared to have slipped out of Esiason's hand.
Walls leads the NFL in interceptions with 8.
Now you see Martin, 88. He actually had Walls beaten earlier, and the ball slipped and just fluttered up there and floated and allowed Walls to make good closing speed, as most defensive backs should have in the National Football League. Boy, he broke on the ball and knocked it down.
Now the Cowboys do have their prevent defense in 4-0 on 3rd down and 10. And Cincinnati goes with 4 wide receivers, and watch Brooks. See if he sneaks up to contain the blitz. The Cowboys, though, do not appear to be blitzing. 2-step drop. Eddie Brown slips the tackle. Might be enough for the first down at the 32. It is.
The thing I want you to watch is the block. You're going to see coming down. Now, Brown, 81, will catch the little hook. But the inside receiver, Martin, that time's responsibility was to time it up so as that when he caught the football, then he would block the man and pick him off of Brown, who then would cut back inside and get the first down.
Esiason is now 6 out of 10 for 113 yards. Brooks inside the 30 near the 28-yard line, and John Dutton moved over and made the tackle. Number 78.
One of the real keys in this game is going to be the play of the left guard for the Bengals, number 74, Brian Bladis, as we have a fisticuffs
with Randy White, the man he's blocking.
Well, you got White, you got Lockhart. A couple of guys I really wouldn't want to fool with. I don't know about you, Vern, but there's Bladis, 74. He's a guy that, if he gets out today, the guy that's taking his place has a broken hand.
Bladis weighs in at 300 pounds. 2nd down and 5 from the 27. 16-0, Cincinnati leads. And again, an absence of pressure, and the ball is incomplete. Esiason will get the ball there in a hurry.
Well, he has, as they say in the vernacular, a strong arm, a live arm. The thing that Sam Weiss said yesterday, he said, I hope he comes out for this game, and when he picks up the football to warm up, I hope he throws ducks and drops it all over the field, because when he does that, Vern, he seems to come out and play solid. Now today, he's had people open here, and now he's starting to miss his receivers.
3rd down and 5. See if the Cowboys have that blitz tendency again. They do have men up on the line. Now James Brooks moves up. Watch out for a quick handoff to Brooks. There it is.
Is it over? See, Brooks is just a quick little trap right up the middle. There's no one there. All the coverage is spread out. There's no one left in the secondary to make the tackle, and Brooks walks into the end zone virtually untouched.
The key block there supplied by Dave Remington, the center. That was a play put in especially for this game against the Cowboys 4-0 defense. They thought they could get the Cowboys blitzing and sneak Brooks up, and what he actually said was, when he stepped up in the line, I've got Bates. Here's a bad snap, and the ball is tipped and intercepted. That is the first thing that has gone wrong for Cincinnati today. That play put in especially against the Cowboys 4-0 defense?
Well, they had to catch the right opportunity too, Vern. They had to catch them in the plus territory inside their 30. Otherwise, they were not going to run this play because they expected the Cowboys to come with the blitz. The real key to this is one man and one man only, and that's the center Remington, as he will simply block back, and then Brooks will slash right up inside. There's no one left to make the tackle. There's Remington, blocks his man, drives him off the football, and then Brooks just boom, man, he's right there gone. Once again, you can see Remington drives his man off. Now look, there's no one around Brooks as he gets through the secondary, and then Clinkscale tries to make the stop too late.
Total yardage now, -18 for Dallas, 182 for Cincinnati. There is Dave Remington, the All-American from Nebraska, who supplied the block that cleared James Brooks. Well, Sam Weiss told us they had studied 9 films of Dallas. And he said, I know they're looking forward to New York. I don't think they're going to change their defensive scheme against us. We think we can catch them in that blitz look. And they did. And it is 22-0.
Well, that's one of those things that you take a chance on, Vern, is the fact that you take a guess with a football team, you put in a specific play, and then you have to convince your football team that it'll work. Now they got an onside kick, and they recovered.
They've got it. Sam Washington, your old teammate.
Well, I'll tell you, we're looking at a score of 22-0, and with the Bengals having everything go their way, if the Bengals go down and score now the way that they are fired up, you can almost say that this game is gone. Let's look at it again. The key to an onside kick is getting the people to turn and their backs on your team and run backwards. Now you see Breach come in. He just bumps the ball. It has to go 10 yards. There it clears the stripe. You see no Cowboys in sight. They've all turned and gone back to make their blocks.
1st and 10, Cincinnati. They lead 22-0. Esiason once more. Intended for Kennebrew of all people, the 270-pound fullback. My gracious.
Well, I'll tell you, White said the thing that we have to do in this football game is come out and we have to be aggressive. We've got to go out and attack all parts of the field with reverses, gadget passes, and we've seen that early, and we have to give this kid time to throw the football, and obviously they've been able to do that.
We've still got 6 minutes to go first quarter. Caught. First down, 35. Rodney Holman. And Michael Downs makes the tackle.
One of the very interesting things to watch now is the fact that Cincinnati has total control of the game. The Cowboys have blitzed. They ran the ball touchdown. Now they're dropping off playing zone, and they're hitting these guys in the seams. And you're going to get a team you can watch and see if they totally get frustrated and get so mad, they start making ridiculous mistakes.
First down and 10. Deep left side. Oh. Ron Fellows had a shot at the interception, didn't get it. Prorated over the full 4 quarters, at this rate, the Bengals would wind up with 800 yards of total offense and the Cowboys -80.
Well, in the last game against Houston, they were only a few yards shy of a club record.
571. They had 555.
Right now, they're playing on this first quarter. Really, they just played on emotion. Second quarter, third quarter, and the fourth quarter is where we're going to really find out what happens, because they're going to have to come down and settle down eventually.
It is 22-0. Cincinnati leads. Most points ever scored against the Cowboys in the first quarter, we are told. Ever. Eddie Brown. Cowboys have it. That's a fumble. Gene Lockhart picks up the fumble, and the Cowboys finally get a break. Everson Walls forced it.
You can see the cushion that Walls has given Brown as he makes a simple sideline break. He has control of the football, and boy, that was a good job by Emerson as he just fought with him, scratched, and finally knocked that football out. And that's the kind of aggressiveness they're going to have to display to get themselves back in this football game.
White brings him up with 1:12 to go first quarter. 22-0 Cincinnati. White with a play fake. Lobs it out left side. Overthrows Tony Dorsett. Terry, they're not out of their game plan yet, are they, the Cowboys?
No.
I mean, they don't have to be.
No, the Cowboys are a football team that can always look like they're out of their game plan, but Tom Lander, who calls the plays, may throw 8, 9, 10 passes in a row. So, no, they're not out of their game plan, nor will I think that anything will dictate that will take them out of the things that they want to do because they like to throw the football.
Danny White, 205 for 20 yards. Cowboys second down and 10. Renfro in motion. White into the right flat for Tim Newsom. That's short of the first down at the 43-yard line. Bobby Kemp, number 26, makes the tackle.
Now, something that I was looking for as we look at Kemp, the strong safety, I was looking to see who Breeden was going to be in control of today. The Bengals like to assign him a receiver, and his responsibility all day long, Vern, will be to mirror that receiver, go everywhere, all over the field that he goes. And right now, he is covering number 82, Renfro, man for man, all over the field.
3rd and 2 from the 43. White, Tony Hill. He doesn't like to go over the middle a whole lot.
Well, this was a bad read by Danny. It's a smash read where the wide receiver goes down, he goes inside, and the slot guy, in this case Renfro, goes down and goes out to the corner. That time when Hill came inside, the entire coverage went to Hill, and Renfro had no one on him on the backside. Even that time Breeden came off and tried to cover Hill, and Renfro was wide open for a big, big play.
But on 4th down and 2, Mike Saxon comes back. Mike Martin waits for it at the 10-yard line. 22-0 Cincinnati with 4:17 remaining in the first quarter. Near corner. Good kick. Touchback. Vince Albritton was the man who was down there. The Cowboys get the turnover, but they can't get the first down. Cincinnati's got the ball back. One against the New York Jets at 9-4. That would be at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford at 12 o'clock Eastern. And it begins with the NFL Today next Saturday on CBS. Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw here in Cincinnati, where the Bengals have been overwhelming, particularly on offense, and they have a 22-0 lead and the ball with their worst field position so far.
Now the Cowboys have come in with 7 defensive backs right off the bat to start this.
So they open with their prevent defense, and Esiason changes the line at the line of scrimmage. He's still got 10 seconds on the third, changes the play, rather. They ran out of time, delay of game call.
No, they called timeout. The Cowboys called timeout, Vern, because they were confused when Esiason changed the play. The back shifted and threw.
Dallas called before the snap by number 22.
I'll tell you, Scott barely got that off, but they were confused by the adjustment that Esiason made to what they were trying to do. It's that cat-mouse game, and therefore the Bengals won this one.
So the Cowboys used the first of their timeouts. Elsewhere in the NFL, Detroit has now kicked a field goal. New England leads it by a 7-3 count in the second quarter. Chicago over Indianapolis, an early 3-0 lead. Kansas City now leading by 7, 14-7 in the second quarter. And Miami has gone on top of the Packers 6-3. And Green Bay. St. Louis leads New Orleans 7-0 on Stump Mitchell's run. Morton Anderson got the field goal, and the Jets with a 7-0 lead over Buffalo. Washington and Philadelphia still scoreless in the second quarter.
You know, the thing that I'm so impressed with the Bengal offense is, unlike so many sophisticated offenses that you see in the National Football League, this is not a pop gun offense. They don't pick 5 and 6. They get the football downfield 15 and 20 yards. They'll take what you give them, but their design is to hit you deep and hit you fast and put a lot of points on the board, and they've done just that at the tune of 22-0 still here early in the first quarter.
They are averaging 352 yards of offense per game. They might have that by halftime. Stanford Jennings has come in along with Mike Martin now. And again, the Cowboys stay in their prevent defense. 1st and 10 from the 20. Jennings wears number 36. Kennebrew breaks the first tackle by Jeffcoat and then picks up a yard or two. Gene Lockhart and Dexter Clinkscale.
Now, the Cowboys had success this time in stopping Killebrew, so now they're saying to themselves, look, we can play their run with our defensive backs and then still be matched up with their wide receivers in the no-huddle offense.
And the chess game continues because now Cincinnati goes back and huddles.
and the Cowboys send out another linebacker and bring in another defensive back.
Lockhart is out. It'll be 2nd down and 7. 3.5 to go, first quarter. That's Mike Martin in motion. Inside handoff to Brooks. Belted and popped at the 26.5-yard line. Randy White, number 54, made the tackle. Randy White, of course, is a legend at the University of Maryland, where Boomer Esiason set all kinds of passing records a decade later. And we asked Boomer yesterday if he had ever met Randy White. He said, no, I have great respect for him, but I've never met him. And I hope I don't meet him today for the first time flat on my back. So far, he has not. Lados has done a good job. 3rd and 3. Across the middle, incomplete. Bates was the cover man. There's no flag. Mike Martin, the intended receiver, and for the first time, Pat McAnally gets into the game and will punt. From the 27 with 2:44 still to go, first quarter. Bill Bates will return Pat McAnally's kick. There's Bates, last in the NFC in punt returns, but the Cowboys say they don't draft or hire anybody for that particular task. Low snap. Pressure's coming, but Fowler picks up, and Bates grabs it at the 29. How about that by Bill Johnson for downfield play? Number 30. .43 with 2:40 to go in the ball game. Johnson, number 30, chased by Lockhart, gets by him, chased by Bates, almost gets by him. And the clock will continue to run as Johnson has picked up a first down. Another final then, the New England Patriots run their record to 10-4 for the season as they defeat Detroit 23-6 at home. New England still involved in the chase for the AFC East. St. Louis defeats New Orleans 28-16. That's at St. Louis, and Wade Phillips suffers his first defeat as the New Orleans coach. 28-16, the final there. Sam Weiss, his team is about to go 7-7. And what a game plan they put together for this ball game. There is the 2-minute warning. The Cincinnati Bengals will win it. It's just a matter now by how they're about to suffer their first defeat on a game played after Thanksgiving since 1967. They have also given up more yards today than ever before in the 26-year history of the franchise. 543, and Cincinnati still has the ball with a first down. Bill Johnson to the 16-yard line. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Bengals and the National Football League is prohibited. 1:35 to go in this ball game. Cincinnati at Washington next week, then finishes out at Detroit.
I tell you, they don't have an easy schedule. They've got to go to Washington, then I believe where they go to New England from there. So this is their last home game, and if they can take this game, if they can take this road show on the road and play like this, oh boy, they're something else. But then they may not even get in the playoffs.
Johnson. That's for a couple more. Coming up tonight on CB, evaporating into the distance. That may be a touchdown. Nope, a yard short. 18 seconds to go.
Well, you can't fault great effort, but you got to believe it. You know, the Cowboys are going to play these Bengals again one of these days with 8 seconds, 7 seconds, and I just wouldn't want to get in the end zone.
Good point. 50-24 might be satisfaction enough. Tom Landry as Sam Weiss makes the trek all the way across the field to shake his hand.
Did he shake it?
Tom Landry shook his.
They were sloppy. Well, John and Irv, the New England Patriots win again, and those Detroit Lions, they are one team at home and another one whenever they go on a road trip. Never saw anything quite like this. They are hammered on the road today, 23-6, and John and Irv, we can take a look at some of the action from that game up in Foxborough, and Harry Kipple had a tough afternoon.
That's the thing. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they need a roof on there to protect the quarterback, because here we see Hipple getting sacked, and I'll tell you, that's a tough deal. That quarterback deal.
Now here is Craig James taking the pitch out. He goes for 8 yards. That puts him over 1,000 yards for the season. He's the 4th runner in Patriot history to do it, and Irv, it got tougher for Hipple.
Well, he's had an assortment of injuries all year long. Back spasms, fractured ribs, a knee problem. Here he goes down after being hit by Tippett and is injured once again.
Andre Tippett is one of the best linebackers in all of football. If he played in New York, he'd have a reputation up there with Lawrence Taylor. And he was able to come in and sack Joe Ferguson that time, and the Patriots picked up another fumble, and they win it 23-6, the final score there. Now the Bears go back to Soldier Field, having lost in Miami on Monday night, and they were hard-pressed by the Indianapolis Colts before they won this one 17-10. Let's take a look at some of the action. That Bear defense, John.
I'll tell you, Gary Fensick gets a real quick read on this one. You see him come up from the outside there, and he throws Randy McMillan for a 6-yard loss.
Now watch from the shotgun, Jim McMahon handing off to Walter Payton, and 11 touchdowns on the season with that burst. And the Bears also got some other good running, John.
Well, here later, Calvin Thomas takes it in again on the trap play down there in the goal line. But I'll tell you, that Walter Payton is something. I think he's the best that's ever played this game.
You know, Ditka was criticized severely after the Monday night loss for not running Payton enough. When I talked to him earlier in the week, he said, maybe I should have run Payton about 71 times. Maybe the score would have been different. He said, I'm going to run him this week.
Didn't they also tell you that Payton had the flu down in Miami?
He did. He had the flu in Miami. As a matter of fact, on Tuesday, and I was there in the Bear camp, he was in the hospital receiving additional checkups, and they wanted to make sure he'd be okay for today, and of course he was.
Kansas City Chiefs come up with a victory today. 38-10 over the Atlanta Falcons is the final score there. Now we can take a look at how the Miami Dolphins downed the Green Bay Packers. 34-24 in those 5 touchdown passes by Danny Marino. And you can see they were shoveling a little snow out of the way before this one got underway. Marino to one of his targets, John.
I tell you, Marino held out earlier, and here he's throwing one to Mark Clayton. And maybe that hurt his earlier development, but whatever it is, it's sure back now.
Jim Zorn was supposed to quarterback the Packers, Irv.
He does. He goes back, looks for James Lawson this time, and finds the big guy. James Lawson goes for a 56-yard touchdown. He can still do it. You know, the Packers have some problems too enough, but that guy's been on top for a long time. He's a great wide receiver, and he continues to play well.
Well, Forrest Gregg was watching. It was not to be. As I said, 5 touchdown passes by Marino. That one to Joe Rose gave the Dolphins the lead, and then they added one more, 61 yards to Johnson, and they put it away 34-24. The NFL today will continue. St. Louis Cardinals, who are going nowhere, showed some spunk this afternoon, and they came away with a victory, 28-16 over the New Orleans Saints. That was the final in that game. The New York Jets are going to stay up there with the Dolphins and the Patriots in the AFC East. 27-7 now is the score, and Ken O'Brien has thrown 3 touchdown passes in this game, 2 of them to his talented tight end Mickey Schuler of 20 yards and 3 yards, and the other one 96 yards to Wesley Walker. Philadelphia and Washington, we watched the Redskins close that one out with an interception in the closing moments. 17-12 over Marion Campbell and the Philadelphia Eagles. Ron Jaworski, though, he had his moments, John.
Well, he started out here with the play pass. He fakes to his fullback and throws it out to his halfback, Ernest Jackson.
And Jackson getting a burst here for a touchdown. And then for the Redskins, Irv, how about George Rogers?
George Rogers had a real good day, rushing for over 100 yards today, and he really wanted it badly because ever since he came to Washington this year from a trade from New Orleans, he's been determined to prove that he could have a game like this. And the big guy was a former Heisman Trophy winner, rambles for a 28-yard touchdown there and had a big day.
Jay Schrader with the touchdown pass that did it. He pounds one to Gary Clark, and the Redskins win one that they have to win if they are to go to the playoffs. 17-12 is the final. And it is still hard to believe the score that was posted by the Cincinnati Bengals this afternoon against the Dallas Cowboys. First time the Cowboys had ever played a game in Cincinnati. They never, ever want to go back to take these guys on, John.
Well, you know, they start off here with a quick run here to James Brooks up the middle. That was Remington, the big center, blocking on Dexter Clinkscale.
How about James Brooks, sir?
Well, I tell you, he wasn't finished here. He took a play off, going off his right guard, and rambles 19 yards for a touchdown. And at this point in the game, it looked like, and it was certainly the case, you know, the Bengals had everything going for them.
How about the Boomer when he came back, John?
I watched him in practice when I was up there in Cincinnati, and he has one of the strongest arms that I've ever seen.
He had a bruised knee in the second quarter. The Bengals lead the Cowboys. First time these two teams have ever met here. It's 22-3. We are back for the second half of this game. 14th game of the 1985 season. Cincinnati 22-3 over a shell-shocked collection of Dallas Cowboys who have the New York Giants at home next week and then finish on the road against San Francisco. Cincinnati, in the meantime, trailing Cleveland going into today's action, will wind up at Washington and at New England. Sam White was telling us yesterday that if they can't win the division outright, the best thing for the Bengals would be for a three-way tie between Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. They lose the tiebreakers to Cleveland.
By 1 point.
By 1 point. It goes down to the fifth tiebreaker.
Well, they had a 4th and goal, and they were stopped. And he said, and looking back now, had we kicked the field goal, and it comes to that, situation, then obviously we win our division and we're in the playoffs. But you don't really play football like that, thinking, well, we need this for the tiebreaker.
Septien's kick will be taken by Mike Martin after it bounces. Martin fumbles, picks it up, and has it back to the 20. Almost to the 30. Indeed, that is where he gets. Bill Bates, number 40, made the tackle. At the end of the first half, 278 yards total offense to 95 for Dallas. And look at the time of possession, almost double that of the Cowboys. And 22 first quarter points. And Esiason is back in at quarterback. They go with a no-huddle offense. As time, Collinsworth got away from Ron Fellows. And they'll quickly go with a no-huddle again.
Well, they can't. Collinsworth is down on the sideline. Okay, now he's up.
Oh, will they miss him if he can't continue? 6'5", 200-pounder, now in his 4th year and heading toward yet one more 1,000-yard season. Oh, he's upset.
Well, he makes a good move, and he's wide open as he goes across the middle, and Esiason did a good job of getting the ball to him. Now, Chris is going to try to get out of bounds, and you're going to see Fellows, 27, hanging on him. And now what happens is that he gets his leg caught on him, twisted it, and then Fellows falls on top of him as he goes out of bounds. Those things hurt real bad when they first happen, and then you get up and you think your leg's falling off, and then as the nerves come back, then you're all right and you run back out on the field.
First down 10, Cincinnati from their own 43-yard line. Esiason has Kennebrew behind him. Here's Dick Jorgensen. Thought he had something to say to us. Guess not. First down 10. Eddie Brown at the 47. Everson Walls made the tackle.
Eddie Brown at the top of your screen. Linebacker sitting in the middle. Lockhart, Hegman, all of them coming right upside. The thing that's important again, the second time we've seen an all-out linebacker blitz. Esiason with a bad knee steps in there, gets rid of the football before Hegman gets to him, and completes it for a first down to Brown.
Actually just short of the first down. It'll be 2nd and 1 from the 47. 22-3, Cincinnati leads. Remember Bum Phillips talking about the kind of big backs he liked in those goal line situations. You want a back who moves the pile. There ain't no doubt about what Kennebrew does.
Kennebrew is a pile. So it's a pile hitting a pile, and then his pile's stronger than the other pile, and that's how come they got a first down.
That's 270 plus going against the defensive line, and he's also operating behind an offensive line that averages 283 pounds per man.
Now, how in the world did Kennebrew convince the coaches to let him be a running back at that weight? I'm talking about back in high school and college.
With authority. If you joined us late, Cincinnati jumped out to a quick lead. They got a safety to open the game and then took over at their own 28, quickly won 7 plays, touchdown. Took over following a fumble recovery at the Dallas 45, 2 plays, touchdown, then another drive, touchdown. But since then, they've not done that much. Nevertheless, they are inside the Cowboy 40 again here to open the 3rd quarter. Eddie Brown in motion. Kennebrew breaks 1 tackle, breaks 2, has a first down on 30.
Cowboys had success early in stopping the run with their 4-0 or their nickel package in the football game, meaning more defensive backs than linebackers. That time it backfired on them with needing 4 yards for a first down, having the little defensive backs in there. All Kennebrew did was just let them hop on and then carry them for a ride.
First down at the 30, 12:47 to go, 3rd quarter. James Brooks, they go to the scat back, and he picks up 1. That offensive line behind which those running backs are operating has Anthony Munoz, number 78, at 278 pounds, and these are program weights, folks. Brian Bladis at 301, he's number 74. Dave Remington at 288, he's 52. Max Montoya, the skinny kid, at 275. Mike Wilson, another skinny kid, at 271.
Well, they'll get on a weight program at the end of the year and try to put that extra 15, 20 pounds on that's necessary to play for the Bengals.
2nd down and 9. No pressure again at all. Finally,
Touchdown!
Steve Kreider, touchdown. That is his first of the year. Catch of the season. Young man working on his Ph.D. here at the University of Cincinnati.
Well, you can't say enough about those big fellas up front. We've said it time and time again, but it's the most important thing. As you see Kreider in the center of your screen, he just stops. He's read zone. He just stops, and then Esiason finds him, pops him with the football, and he trots right on into the end zone. But once again, the time that they give Esiason to throw the football is almost unbelievable.
See up above in between the goalposts, there's a sign, an ugly reminder for the Cowboys of 44-0. Well, it's now 29-3. And Steve Kreider caps the opening drive of the 3rd quarter. Season in the NFL. He has now thrown this season 22 touchdown passes and only 9 interceptions.
The thing that is so impressive about him was the thing that Collinsworth, the thing that White had said, and the entire football team, is that he is so tough. When he walks into the huddle, he just takes command. He has that charisma and the ability naturally to go with all of that. It's made him an outstanding quarterback in the National Football League.
That'll be a delay of game, and they'll come back and mark it back 5 yards. Sam Weiss, of course, played here along with several other teams, had a very successful sporting goods company in Greenville, South Carolina, but in '79, Terry, he said, I want to go into coaching. And he told his wife, and he even applied for some high school coaching jobs, And an hour after he told his wife about his decision, he gets a call from Bill Walsh, who offers him a quarterback position job in San Francisco.
And obviously Walsh's offensive mind is rubbed off on Sam Weich's offensive philosophy. And even Paul Brown said, I noticed it when he was a quarterback here for us, and we wanted to keep our eye on him because we were so impressed with his knowledge of the game at such an early age in his career. Now they give him the opportunity to be a head coach, which is what he wanted. He wasn't going to coach unless he thought he had an opportunity to be a head coach.
James Jones at the 10. Reverse. Victor Scott. Fumble. Cincinnati, I believe, has recovered. Yes. That worked about as well as everything else has for Coach Landry. Robert Jackson made the hit. Sam Washington made the recovery.
One thing that Sam Weich said, well, everyone on our football team, the reason they're so excited about this game and every game is the fact that they know that every one of them is going to play in this game. And that keeps them excited. As you can see, Washington and Jackson, two guys we haven't mentioned, make a big play.
We're approaching a blowout. Eddie Brown at the 10. Surprised?
I'm not surprised on behalf of the Bengals. I expected that, as I said at the outset of the game, the fact that I felt like Esiason had to have a big game. He had been playing well all year, and this offense is certainly an explosive and a creative offense. And on the other hand, I felt that the Cowboys were at the peak of their game offensively, and it just made for a natural matchup and a great, great game. So far, it's been one-sided.
2nd and 10.
Making the blitz.
Brooks with a lot of room.
Same play they ran earlier.
Same result.
Cowboys faking the blitz.
The left front tire just blew out.
Play was the exact same play earlier, only this time a quick eye by the running back Brooks saw that he couldn't go inside, and what does he do? He goes outside. Same play, same results.
Jim Breach on to make it 36-3. On the same play put in specifically to work against the Dallas 4-0 defense.
Well, you would think that if you burn me once, you know, that's my fault. Burn me twice, and holy mackerel. You're going to see this time Brooks is going to go up inside, then bounces back outside. Now, that's a terrible example of it, I know, folks, but let's see what happens. Esiason comes out. There's the handoff. Now he goes outside, up inside, bends back to the outside, outruns Clinkscale. Great block by Eddie Brown downfield on 24 Walls, and allows Brooks this time just to waltz right into the end zone.
M.L. Harris comes over to congratulate James Brooks. And the Bengals are about to even it up at 7-7 for the season. 9 for 92 and 2 touchdowns today. Going to put a little pressure on the Cleveland Browns, who are playing in Seattle later this afternoon. Now Jim Breach getting ready to kick off. This is Kenny Duckett seeing his first action for the Cowboys. Just picked up off the free agent list this week, and he counter punches out to the 28-yard line. Next Saturday. Saturday on the NFL Today, a look at the monsters in the Midway, from Bill George and Dick Butkus to Mike Singletary. Tune in to see Herb Cross's Legends of the Game on the NFL Today next Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and that will be followed by a whale of a potential game, the Bears against the Jets. It all begins at 12 o'clock Eastern next Saturday on CBS. First and 10, Danny White fires it deep. Caught by Tony Hill. That is his 73rd reception of the season. And since the Cowboys are in all likelihood not going to win this, we'll go back to records. That ties the club record for the Cowboys set by Ron Springs a few years back.
You're still into those records, huh?
Diving in that press guide. I'm going to sneak it in as best I can. Really significant stuff.
Well, the thing that you will see now is softer coverage now. You will see the Bengals let them get chunks, but not get the quick strikes.
First down and 10, Dallas from the 45. Mike Renfro.
Good job.
Beat Lewis Breeden, number 34. And that's a gain of 9 to the 46-yard line.
Well, that's the quick passing that Danny had told me the other day that they were going to use. They catch these guys playing off of their receivers. They're going to pop them with a football and let them get 5, 6 yards on their own. Catch it for 5 and get 5 or 6. 2 hooks in a row. 2 deep hooks. Cowboys are moving the football.
There's the Bengal defense, of which Sam White said earlier this year, we started slow and tapered off. They come back with a vengeance and are playing very well. Dorsett. First down at the 34-yard line. Ron Simpkins, number 56, makes the tackle.
Now, the thing I want to make a point of so the people don't get confused, Vern, that are sitting home watching this and they're saying, now why weren't they able to do this in the first half? What has happened, folks, is very simply they're dropping their linebackers deep, that being the Bengals. They're dropping their corners and their safeties off and giving the Cowboys the big holes just to piece it and take it down the field, figuring it'll take them 5, 6 minutes to get it down there and maybe score.
36-3 right now with 9:15 to go, third quarter. Dorsett, no room to run. Let's check other scores around the NFL. New England still leading Detroit 17-6, third quarter. Indianapolis trailing Chicago. Peyton has just scored from 16 yards out, 10-3 in the fourth. Kansas City all over Atlanta by 21, 31-10. Green Bay trailing Miami. Lofton has just caught a pass from Jim Zorn. St. Louis over New Orleans by 15. And the Jets over Buffalo 21-0. Washington trailing Philadelphia 5-3. Dorsett coming right. Runs right into the chain marker. Pretty alert move by that fellow to get out of the way. Dorsett's 13th carry of the game. A not particularly memorable afternoon for Tony, who lost 16 on his first carry after he fumbled and had to fight to get back into plus yardage. That's actually his 12th carry for 25 yards. 36-3 with 8:28 to go, third quarter. Third down, 5. And an audible by Danny White. Dorsett for the first down and out of bounds at the 22. John Simmons, former SMU product, number 25, made the play on Dorsett to force him out of bounds. There's Simmons, who was a longtime starter here, but has been relegated to a backup role now. One of SMU's All-Americans. First and 10, Dallas at the 21-yard line. Cowboys, of course, are at home against the Giants next week, a game many of you will see, and be interesting to see if they can regroup or if indeed they had their minds on the Giant game today. Because of these two teams, Cincinnati could least afford to lose. Dorsett to the 17, and by that I mean the Cowboys are fighting for the NFC Eastern Division title. A loss today would not keep them from achieving that. They still have to beat New York to get it. Conversely, the Giants can win it by beating Dallas next week.
Well, you can kind of see how when the game started, the emotion was definitely on the side of the Bengals. They appeared early to be the team that wanted to win, the team that was ready to win, and I'm surprised because I believe great football teams rise to these kind of challenges, and I just felt like Dallas would come up and play a great game. I really expected to see that.
They haven't. 2nd and 7. White, Renfro. 1st and goal at the 8. John Simmons, number 25, again with the tackle.
That's a good job by Danny as he tried to get the football in the end zone that time. He noticed that his tight end, he noticed that Hill was covered. Then he had his man, that time Renfro, working back across and was able to pick him up and get the first down.
36-3, the current score. The Cowboys held Cincinnati out of the end zone in the 2nd, but they gave up 22 in the 1st and 14 so far here in the 3rd. 1st and goal from the 8. White in trouble. There is an interesting battle going on in the center of the line. Tim Crumry, number 69, had 7 tackles and 2 assists in the 1st half. He's matched against Tom Rafferty, and because these two teams have not played each other since '79, a Dallas newspaper asked Rafferty if he knew any of the Bengals, and Tom named about 10, and he says, now, I'm not sure about the guy who's across from me. Crummer or Crumry or whatever his name is. I think he's a pretty good player. I think Rafferty has found out. There is Tom Rafferty starting his 147th game. 2nd and goal from the 21. Screen pass. Dorsett gets a great block from Rafferty and gets back near the original line of scrimmage at the 8. Jimmy Turner, number 35, made the tackle as Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator of the Bengals, has gone with a lot of backups in the defense now.
That's an interesting call because when you set up screens, you want to have it against zones where linebackers are dropping off, and then plus territory. Anytime you're inside the 30 to 20, you can expect man coverage, and therefore screens are no good. And it was a good guess that time by Tom Landry that they would be in zone, and he ran the screen.
3rd and goal from the 9. Shotgun. Carl Poe has come into the game. White. Renfro, touchdown.
We had talked about the Cincinnati Bengal offensive line giving Esiason time. This time, White has all the time in the world. Is Rafferty, that time Peterson, all these guys gave him plenty of time and allowed Renfro 82 to work himself from the outside, come up underneath the linebackers, and then beat Simmons into the end zone and make the TD catch.
Raphael Septien on to try the extra point out of Gary Hogaboom's hold. Cowboys go 71 yards in 11 plays. There's still not a smile on Tom Landry's face. They trail by 26. Set to kick off following the Cowboys' first touchdown of the afternoon. Mike Martin and Stanford Jennings deep to return it. Cincinnati, of course, scored 45 points last week in defeating Houston. In their previous 2 games prior to that game, they had not scored a touchdown. Had been held to 6 points in each game. A loss to the Raiders and a loss to Cleveland. But they have put 36 on the board today. Mike Martin to the 25-yard line. A reminder, next Saturday, CBS Sports coverage of CBS Sports. Did you ever play hoops? I know you threw the javelin, basketball.
Oh. I couldn't play. I never played basketball. I couldn't dribble. No, could not. I couldn't even dribble in PE when I was little. I just never could dribble. Threw
the javelin a long way.
You don't make a lot of money throwing the javelin.
That's true. Esiason, Larry Kennebrew. Oh, he is a load to bring down.
I wonder, wouldn't you like to put one of those pressure meters on one of those defensive backs when they come up and get close to this guy and have to make the tackle and see how that pulse beat rises as close as they get? I know if it was on me, I'd blow out the what do you call that stuff that's in there, the mercury?
Yep.
Right out through the top.
Second down and 2. Esiason to James Brooks. That's another Cincinnati first down.
Well, the Cowboys have tried everything today, Bern, to try to get to Esiason and stop the offense of the Bengals. They've blitzed. They've sent linebacker blitzes. Every time they've done it, they've had a pass on Davey and the Bengals, and they've completed it either for a first down or just a yard shy. They've come up with the safety blitzes, and they've had 2 long touchdown runs and 1 TD pass. So right now, the Cowboys are scratching their head trying to figure out a way to defense this team. And right now, I doubt we'll see any more safety blitzes. I will be very surprised if we see any more.
Well, the thing that hits me is how well the offensive line has controlled that line of scrimmage today. Here comes a linebacker blitz, but Esiason stands tall and throws to Collinsworth, and that'll be 6 more. Once those nerves come back and you get the feeling back in your leg, it doesn't hurt so much.
I've been carried off on a stretcher, and once the nerves come back, you say, oh, I'm embarrassed to go back out. This time, Collinsworth, as you see him down the middle, no one in the middle. Absolutely no one, as they have a linebacker blitz up. Clinkscale is up to take the tight end, leaves the middle wide open. Sellers trailing Collinsworth, touchdown. Boy, that's a great throw.
3 touchdown tosses for Esiason. Collinsworth told us yesterday he loves the kid in the huddle. And he says he throws it in a hurry and high, a la Noah Ryan. Jim Breach. He's calling home to Orlando. Did you love it in Florida, folks? Worth caught his 4th touchdown pass of the year. And Boomer Esiason threw his 3rd of the game. That is the 6th time in his 2 years that Esiason has thrown 3 touchdowns in a single game, and that record breaks is an all-time Cincinnati record. Jim Breach is on to kick off. Can he duck it? No, he can't. And there's a penalty at the 20-yard line. A flag down. Robert Jackson, number 37.
Holding the held shoe that time, number 59, a linebacker for the Bengals, going down on kickoff coverage.
Holding number 46, receiving team, first up.
Let's watch the touchdown again.
Linebacker blitzing from the outside, going up inside. Lockhart freezes. Now you see Clinkscale there, and you're going to see Brown's coming across in motion, and they will double Brown in the slot and freeze Fellows man for man on Collinsworth on the outside. Plenty of time to throw the football. Good job by Esiason. Just hangs it up and lets Collinsworth with that great speed run under the football.
That is only the first penalty on Dallas today, but it sets them up with a first down at their own 11-yard line. Danny White, his team trails 43-10. 21 third quarter points. Dorsett to the 14. Now for an NFL Today report. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Vern, it's a tough afternoon for the Washington Redskins. The Philadelphia Eagles get another touchdown right now. Ernest Jackson on that 1-yard burst, and they lead the Skins 12-3 late in the third. Let's go back to Vern.
All right, Brent, 43-10. That is not a misprint. Cincinnati had lost to the Cowboys in their previous 2 meetings, 1973 and 1979. Dallas was to have played here in 82, the strike-shortened year, and that game was wiped out. I think they would just as soon have this one wiped out. Second down and 7. Dorsett to the 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 6.
The thing thing that I find so amazing is that we knew a lot about the offense of the Bengals, but quite honestly, not a lot about their defense. We knew they were young. They only have 3 men on this starting entire football team that are over 10 years of NFL experience. So this is a relatively young football team, but this defense today has shown me that they are definitely a defensive football team to be reckoned with.
Statistically, they've not looked that good this year. On the field today, they have looked awesome. 3rd and 6. Dorsett drops it. This is a defense that was ranked 23rd in the NFL coming in today. And Dorsett heads to the sidelines, jawing a little bit with Robert Jackson, number 37.
Ever since he dropped the ball, Jackson stayed with Tony all the way, trying to intimidate him, try to get Tony to kind of counter back a little bit. But Tony learned his lesson against the Eagles earlier in the year, and he wants no part of that.
Mike Martin on the return. Mike Saxon's punt. Sun is shining in Cincinnati. Martin across the 50, and Brian Salonen hits him up high. Makes the tackle with help from James Jones and Victor Scott. We've still got 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Cincinnati has 21 points in this quarter. Of the beauty and the beast, and it is that in Cincinnati. There's the beauty. There's a friend of yours.
Oh, thank you. It looks like you and I together.
Sure
You're the one with the helmet on.
43 to 10, and we've still got 2:44 to go 3rd quarter. Charles Alexander has checked into the offensive backfield. That's Alexander in motion, and Brooks up the middle. Pops a helmet and gets to the 45. They're sending in the plays. Doing a heck of a job.
That does look like some of the sideline language we've seen some of these offensive coordinators use.
That's right.
Only without the helmet.
2nd down and 6 from the 45. Esiason with a no-huddle offense. 555 yards for Cincinnati last week, and they're getting close this week. Finally, the whistle blows. This thing started with a rush back in the 1st quarter when Sam Weiss, the first time his team got the ball after they led 2-0, went with a no-huddle, and Terry, he just really tactically made it impossible for Dallas to get the 4-0 defense.
Well, on the first series of offensive plays, he was able to keep the 4-0, keep 7 defensive backs off the football field, because that's what the Cowboys wanted to do, was get their people in there and blitz. They were able to keep them off the field, drive down, and get a quick touchdown.
3rd and 3. 1:18 to go, 3rd quarter. Alexander in trouble. Gene Lockhart makes the hit. It'll be 4th down. And Lockhart and Alexander get up shoving. A little frustration showing on the part of the Cowboys.
Well, the best way, I was always taught the best way to shut a crowd up or to shut a team up was to just point to the scoreboard, and that's what Charles ought to do. Instead of trying to pick a fight with Eugene Lockhart, who is one tough middle linebacker, and imagine a pretty good street fighter, is just point to the scoreboard and walk off the field and keep your pride intact, and that's the only way, and that's the most humbling effect anybody can do, is just point to the scoreboard.
How about this? The Bengals are going for it on 4th and 4. Any in-your-face involved here? Here's Alexander. He's got it. How do you like them apples?
And look who carried the football. Alexander, whose wife says is our most consistent overall balanced running back of running and catching. We have Kennebrew for the power. We have Brooks for the speed, but combination of both belongs to this former LSU great running back, Charles Alexander. And no, I don't think it's putting in your face, because here's what's going to happen. They want to score again. That makes the score
50 to 10.
50 to 10. You take your starting quarterback out. He's got a bad leg. You bring in Schonert, who at the third game of this season, he had to make a decision between Schonert or Esiason. He went with the young southpaw who has come through for him. You get Schonert in there, and there's not that much of a difference.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score 43 to 10. We now pause for a word from your local station. The final 15 minutes, Dallas and Cincinnati, 43-10. The Bengals lead, and they have a first down at the Cowboy 35. It has been a Cincinnati showcase today. Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw. And they fake the reverse. Brooks. Well, Sam White has gone for it on 4th and 4, and he comes out with a reverse for the 33-point lead. You still don't think he's piling it on a little bit?
I'm giving you my impressions as an ex-athlete and as a player. Chuck Nolan, we're fixing to have another play with a no-huddle offense.
Okay, we'll get back to it after this one.
This has been kind of fascinating. We knew they were going to use the no-huddle, but not exclusively.
Second down and 2. Dave Remington over the ball, 43-10. M.L. Harris in motion. James Brooks. And is caught short. Must be a fan of Pittsburgh's as well, huh?
I don't think so. Not here.
And there is Danny White looking into the sun and perhaps now thinking about the New York Giants next week.
Well, they may
go back to your point, Terry.
Well, the point is that Chuck Noll never liked to take us out of the game. It was throwing a sign up. He was worried about injuries. Now, we would run the football. We wouldn't do gadgets and things. We would just run the football and try to kill the clock and control it. I see your point, running up the score, but I see the other side of it, too. I'd like to see them get these kids out and put the other kids in.
3rd and 2. Alexander, he may go for a while. Knocked out of bounds at the 18 by Everson Walls. First down.
This is a great effort by Alexander. You see the power eye, both the eye back and the fullback. As Brooks makes the block, and then Alexander comes inside of Kennebrews' block, gets outside, and then Walls comes over and knocks him out of bounds.
That's good enough for the first down at the 17-yard line.
There's no greater feeling, Vern, right now than the offensive team for the Bengals, knowing they've got this game. Well, it is a great feeling.
Well, they have controlled that line of scrimmage in an awesome degree. Esiason. That's good to the 11-yard line. Catch is made by Chris Collingsworth. Let's get you up to date on other scores. New England still leading Detroit 20-6 in the fourth quarter. Chicago has extended its lead to 14 over Indianapolis. Kansas City by 28 over Atlanta. Green Bay trailing Miami still, but only by 3 in the fourth quarter. St. Louis 28-9 over New Orleans. Second down, 4 from the 11. Brooks. That's a first and goal at the 5. Randy White made the tackle. Jets leading Buffalo 21-7 in the fourth quarter. And Philadelphia hangs on to a 2-point lead over Washington 12-10. Of course, that 44-0 defeat that Chicago laid on the Cowboys 3 weeks ago is the largest margin of defeat in Cowboy history. Back in 1970, the year in which Tom Landry's team was defeated by St. Louis 38-0, they also lost a game to Bud Grant's Vikings 54-13. This game is approaching that kind of a score. It's right now 43-10. Alexander. It's soon to be 50-10 because that is a touchdown. He had crossed the plane before the fumble. And listen to the ovation.
This time by Remington, right guard Montoya, Blanis, left guard, little counter action. And all Alexander does is go up inside, hits the linebacker, bounces off, and then the ball hits the plane and then finally breaks loose what appears to be a fumble. But once it crosses the plane, then that's a touchdown.
They called him Alexander the Great when he played football at LSU. Jim Breach on to kick the extra point. The Dallas Cowboys trail the Cincinnati Bengals by 40 points. And we've still got 12 minutes to go in the game. 27 win last week. The Bengals 550 yards. Today, with 12 minutes remaining in the game, 501, including 224 on the ground. 1,056 yards in 2 weeks, and one is wondering how in the world they've lost 7 games. There is Boomer Esiason right behind Pat McAnally. Here's Jim Breach. Kenny Duckett. To the 22-yard line. The National Football Conference Eastern Division standings will now look like this. The Giants, of course, can tie the Cowboys by defeating Houston this afternoon. That game in the Astrodome gets a 4 o'clock East Coast start. Washington 7-6, Philadelphia 6-7, and St. Louis 4-9, depending on what happens today. And next week, the Giants against the Cowboys in Texas Stadium. And the NFC Eastern Division lead will be on the line. It's kind of hard to say that with the team trailing by 40 points here today. But nevertheless, that is what's coming up next week. Danny White. Tony Dorsett. And a flag is down.
They're going to call this on Robert Jackson, number 37, come in and play in free safety in place of James Griffin. What he did was Dorsett was going out of bounds. He saw it. He hit him and then drove him into the sideline after he got out of bounds.
6 yards foul, number 37, defense, first down.
There's Robert Jackson. His teammates call him Catfish.
And he doesn't like it. You're going to see this again. Now Jackson's coming over. Tony gives him the stiff arm, and there's the left hand. It twists Tony's head around. You can see that, and there's the flag goes down.
That moves the ball out to the 37-yard line. First down and 10. Shotgun formation. Dorsett comes left. He's got Titlenser in front. And moves it out near the 47-yard line. John Simmons, number 25, made the tackle. Of course, the Cowboys bounced back from a defeat at the hands of Chicago and won their next 2 games. They've got to try and forget this and get ready for New York next week. How tough is that to do? Well, when do you forget about a humiliation like this?
I don't know. I never was in this situation.
Good point.
And so I don't know when you forget about it. I only know that great football teams don't lose 44-0 and then lose whatever they're going to lose by today. You just don't do it. I don't think you can continuously keep coming back and then having these letdowns. You have to win on the road, and they have not done that today. I don't know.
Second down. White. Tim Newsom. And that's good for a Cowboy first down at the 45.
I will say this, though. I will say that this football team seems to rise to the occasion that it's necessary. Now, today's game may have, in their eyes, not have been a necessary thing for them. So what? We lose. We go home. We got the Giants, and we want to beat the Giants, right? So they go down there. Next week, they might beat the Giants just like this. I don't know. That may be the personality of this football team. But my experience is, if you're good, you're consistently good week in and week out, and you don't go up and down, a ladder like this.
Which has been Cincinnati's problem as well this season, but they've certainly found the spark today. First down and 10. 50-10 is the score. White going deep right side. Great coverage. Almost intercepted. Ray Horton was stride for stride with Tony Hill.
One of the really really good young cornerbacks is this Horton kid. As you can see, Hill can't get away from him, and Horton's got his eyes on the football, and the football is led to the inside. And White will be the first to tell you, when you throw these takeoffs, the proper way to throw them is throw them high, throw them to the outside, where the only one that can catch them will be the receiver, not the defensive back. That time Horton could have very easily intercepted it.
Second down and 10. 50-10 is the score. Cincinnati leads it. Sidearm, and Renfro drops it. What a great pass by White.
This just goes along with the things that have happened to the Cowboys today. You get a great effort out of Danny that time, apparently sacked. As you're going to see here, he's apparently sacked. Dorsett comes inside, is going to give some assistance. Whoop, no assistance. So now, all of a sudden, he's got two guys on him, and the ref's ready to call him down. He escapes Crumry right there to fixing to put him down, and then Renfro, the sure-handed receiver, drops the football. Great effort by White.
That brings up a third down and 10.
Trying to get all these names out, and then you get a guy like Crumry runs into your vision.
Danny White for the day, 1 interception, 1 touchdown. It's 3rd and 10, and he goes from the shotgun. Here comes the rush. Eddie Edwards, screen pass. Dorsett.
Good running.
Great move. And Renfro tried to come back and help with a block on Breeden and couldn't get there in time.
But if Renfro could have come over when Tony had the man hanging, when Breeden was hanging on Dorsett and blocked Breeden that time, he would have freed Dorsett for the touchdown. Eddie Edwards, 73, they let him in, set him up, think, oh boy, I'm going to get a sack. And they said, no way. Little screen outside. Rafferty, good block downfield. Now Tony, with that great speed, cuts all the way back across the field. Now pick up some more blocks. Now there's Breeden. Now right there, had Renfro been able to get a shoulder on to Breeden, he would have knocked him off, and then Dorsett would have gone in for the touchdown.
Nevertheless, it's a first down at the 26-yard line, and again the shotgun formation. 9:40 remaining in the game. White being chased again. Sidearms it again. Newsom makes the catch, and he's got a first down out of bounds at the 13. Now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Vern, the Washington Redskins have come back on the Philadelphia Eagles. Jay Schrader with the touchdown pass to Gary Clark from 5 yards out, and the Skins now lead at 17-12. And let's go back to Vern and Terry.
And Brent, of course, if they win today, they are still live in the playoff picture. The Cowboys, as we said at the outset of the game, this contest today had more meaning for Cincinnati than for Dallas, because regardless of what happened here today, Dallas can still win the NFC East if they beat the Giants next week. And for Cincinnati, it's almost a case of having to win the last 3 to win the division. And they finish out with games on the road at Washington and at New England. But how impressive have they been this afternoon?
Taking the blitz. They're all up inside. There they come.
White reads it. Tony Hill came down right on the back of his head. Horton got underneath it. And the Cowboy medical staff hurries on to the field.
And Tony landed on his shoulder inside of his neck.
Timeout has been called, and we'll be back in a moment. Here is Tony Hill attempting to make the catch and running into Ray Horton.
Well, they had a safety blitz and two linebackers and a safety that time, and then Danny saw it, knew he didn't have time, and so did Hill. They've done so well as adjust their routes when they see blitzes, and that time he came inside, and Danny had the ball deflected at the line of scrimmage and floated up in the air, and then Hill made the effort to catch the football and landed on his neck. Appears to be all right.
He walked off by himself, and it appears to be a hamstring or a thigh muscle injury more so than the neck. It is an incomplete pass, second down and 10.
How did they hit on the neck, on the head, and pull a ham?
Blitz coming from the linebacker, screen pass. Tim Newsom one-on-one. And And a fine defensive play, and now a flag flies at the 10-yard line.
And a good flag. He should have thrown that flag.
That will give Dallas a first and goal.
That's on Breeden that time. Newsome outside. He gets caught by the leg. He drags the receiver and falls down. Then Breeden comes over top and hits him late. He's, you know, don't do those things.
34, defense, late hit. First down.
This time, they had the blitz on again. Now the quick pass out in the flat to Newsom makes the catch. Now he's tackled. All right, now he's trying to get away. I'll pull him a little bit. Come on, pull. Now he's on the ground. He's down. Now, hey, no sense in that. What are you doing? No sense in it. You got a big lead here. There's no reason for you to do those kind of things. Ken Riley would not have done that, and that's his hero. So, Lewis, don't do that anymore.
That gives the Cowboys a first and goal just inside the 5-yard line. To 10 with 8:38 remaining in the game. Dorsett, no gain. And it'll be second down and goal. Bill Posderick, number 75, to check back into the Cowboys offensive line. He started the season as the starter at left tackle. Was injured and lost his job to Chris Schultz, and they moved him into a backup role on the right side behind Jim Cooper, and that is the spot he's occupying. Well, now he's in there as an extra tight end, as a matter of fact. There's the clock, 8:10 to go in the game, and 50-10 is the score. Play fake, into the flat, Newsom. Bounds at the 1.
When you run these play-action passes on the goal line, I said earlier, you have to get the ball to these people quickly. You can't force the football. You can't hold it. That time when Danny came out, right off the bat, Newsom was open. You throw the football to Newsom before he gets so close to the sideline. Now you allow him to get his shoulders turned up before he slides out of bounds and get in the end zone. You can't wait. You got to make your mind up, and then bang, you got to hit him with the football.
Because he didn't, it's third and goal from the 1.
Play action.
Think so?
No.
Yep.
Touchdown.
Cosby's there.
Son of a gun. I should have gone on and said yes. I'd have been a hero.
Well, you had an inkling. And Doug Cosby gets his 5th touchdown catch of the year.
This is the old tight end in motion. You play action, and you see as Danny comes out and bootlegs, you see that Cosby had gone in motion, and normally when they do that, they'll lean him up inside and block him on a tackle or hooking in outside. He went outside that time, didn't hook anyone. He's out in the flat, and he was wide open for the touchdown.
Rafael Septien comes to narrow the margin of defeat. It is now 50-16. To 17. 7 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the game, and the Cowboys trail 50-17. And Tony Hill has his hamstring wrapped. You can see the bandage around the thigh after he took that shot from Ray Horton at the 5-yard line, and he will not be back today. And those things can linger. Here's Septien with a kickoff. Stanford, Jennings, and Mike Martin are the deep men. Mike Martin picks it up at the 7 and gets back to the 17. Vince Albritton made the tackle. And a new quarterback coming in for the Bengals gets a standing ovation. He is the 15-year veteran, Kenny Anderson. I know.
You bet. He'll go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played, one of the most accurate arms and an uncanny mind to pick up blitzes. He was impossible for us to blitz. And a great competitor.
And has adapted to his new role with the Bengals with surprising equanimity. He's very satisfied with what's going on. There's Alexander, the 20. Kenny Anderson in his 15th year, and he told you yesterday, he doesn't know he's going to retire or not.
Well, he's not. He hasn't made his mind up, and he said that I'll take some time, and he said I have a job now. I own a business in the area, and it's keeping me busy, and he said I have plans for retirement, but I do not know if I'm going to retire. Of course, the situation at hand, I would like to see him retire and go on. You know, I hate to see a guy like that just did not play, really.
Second down, handoff Alexander.
Oh, good running.
Remember the best game you ever saw Kenny play?
It was against us. He was 20 for 22. I think he threw 2 or 3 touchdowns, maybe 4 in that game. And he set an all-time NFL record for completion in one game. Of course, in '81, he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl and had an all-pro year, MVP in the league. Out of Augustana, they say the small college guys can't make it. And I think if you look at number 14, he's a good example right there that there's hope for everyone that thinks he can make it in the National Football League, regardless whether you're big school or small school.
First down and 10, Cincinnati. Chris Collinsworth. Anderson finds him. That is only the 15th completion this season for Kenny Anderson. And listen to the roar from the crowd. Kenny Anderson's alma mater, Augustana, yesterday won its 36th consecutive game. It's located in Rock Island, Illinois. That's where Ken Anderson played football. My dad graduated from theological school at Augustana 44 years ago as a Lutheran minister. It's a good school. Left side. Intended for Stanford Jennings. First final in for the day. It was a tough one. I think surprising to a lot of folks, but the Chicago Bears hang on to defeat Indianapolis 17-10 at home. And next week, the 13-1 Chicago Bears travel to New York to take on the Jets, and you'll see that. It's a Saturday telecast. It all begins at 12 o'clock Eastern with the NFL Today next Saturday on CBS Sports. 5:40 remaining in our game. Jennings to the 45-yard line. Gene Lockhart, Don Smerick, and Dexter Cleescale make the tackle. And that clock continues to wind down. 50-17. There's Dorsett. Do you read the newspapers when you guys would lose on those rare occasions to Pittsburgh? Did you read the newspapers the next day?
I would read the newspapers on Thursday and Friday, and I would try to stay away from them on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because that was when all the critiquing was going on. I wanted to avoid that.
Anderson. How about that? On a 3rd and short, Brian Blados, 300 pounds, and he gets his first NFL catch.
Will be to the far right of your screen as he comes down. See him there. Now he goes back outside. There's no one there. Look at this. Great effort. Gets up, does a little tip job, dives for it. This is something they do. They bring in Blados and move him out wide, and then they'll bring Kozerski, 64, to go up, take his spot, and makes him an eligible receiver.
He is the second big hunk of that offensive line who's caught a pass this year. Anthony Munoz has one, too. Charles Alexander. There is Ed Too Tall Jones on the sideline. Already in the process of trying to wipe this one out. It'll be second down as Bill Bates looks on. There's a degree of shell shock in the faces of the Cowboys as the Bengals have dominated from day one. I mean, the minute this ball game opened, it has been Cincinnati's game. Johnson gets the handoff. Big 230-pound rookie from Arkansas State. And that brings up another third down. See if those offensive guys get back in there, Flatus. And there's Mike Wilson, number 77. He's saying, when's my turn?
I met Wilson on a plane with his wife when he was drafted out of Georgia. He'd just come back from Canada where he'd signed the Canadian Football League. And then later on, of course, he came back and signed with the Bengals a year later and has been with them, been their starting right tackle and doing an outstanding job ever since.
Anderson into the flat. A little too much. It'll be fourth down. So Kenny Anderson again gets a hand as he comes to the sideline.
Had Kenny turned around that time, defensive back for the Cowboys had fallen down, and Chris Collinsworth, there wasn't a defensive back within, I'd say good 30, 35 yards, and all Kenny would have had to do is turn around and put it in his left hand, and he could have gotten it to him for a touchdown. As it is, it's probably best that they threw an incompletion.
Pat McAnally is on to punt, and Bill Bates to return for the Cowboys. He waits at the 10-yard line. Only the third time McAnally has had to punt today. Blocked by Everson Walls. Picked up by the Cowboys, and they're still running. This is Jesse Penn, and he'll score. And that is the first time since the 70s that the Cowboys have scored on a blocked punt return for a touchdown. The last time was against Philadelphia, and a guy named Jay Salvi picked it up and ran it in after Charlie Waters had blocked it. Walls blocked it, and Penn gets the touchdown.
McAnally, not one of your quick kickers, not a two-stepper. He steps up, and boy, that time Walls had beaten his man from the outside and got into position. Actually, McAnally, had he been a two-step kicker, that ball would have still been blocked. Good job by Penn, scoops it up and takes it in. You know, he returned, what, 2 for touchdowns, 1 for a touchdown at least in the preseason game. That's how this guy even made this football team, and one of the reasons.
Rafael Septien on to add the extra point. And that gives the Cowboys 1 more point of respectability. It's now 50-24. New Orleans, and they finish out the season at home against the Cowboys. Los Angeles has St. Louis next week after the Monday night game, and they finish out at home against the Raiders. Rafael Septien getting ready to kick it deep to Robert Jackson, number 37. Everybody expecting the onside kick, so he is the deep man. Here comes the onside kick. Flag is down, and the ball is out of bounds. Here comes the referee, Dick Jorgensen. The Cowboys may have been offside.
Offside, left side of the kicking team's line. Deep throw, first down.
Onside kick goes into the file with everything else that hasn't worked today. 528 yards for Cincinnati. The club record for the Bengals is 571. They came close last week against Houston. The Cowboys have 258 yards of total offense today. And the Bengals have a first down at the Cowboys.